Hey everyone, and welcome to This Explainer. Today we're tackling a genuinely fascinating question. Is T1 Energy actually a viable long-term investment? We are looking at a company attempting one of the absolute highest stakes pivots in the renewable sector right now. See, T1 Energy is undergoing this massive transformation, essentially shifting their entire identity from being a battery maker to a vertically integrated solar powerhouse. It's a bold, massive move, and as you'll see, it comes with some pretty extreme risks, but also potentially massive rewards. Okay, let's dive into this rigorous step-by-step due diligence deep dive.
Here is our roadmap for today. 1. Evaluating the business model. 2. Management strategy and execution. 3. Unpacking the financial reality. 4. Intrinsic value and markets. 5. Technical analysis via the Elliott wave. And 6. Our conclusion.
To properly frame our analysis, we really need to establish the core tension at the heart of T1 Energy right now. On one hand, you have this incredibly grand vision, right? They want to be a dominant, vertically integrated solar enterprise capturing massive market share. But the reality we have to grapple with today is, well, quite different. They're operating in a highly cyclical, super capital-intensive industry, and right now, they just don't have an independent structural moat. Instead, their competitive advantage is heavily propped up by government policy benefits. So to figure out if that grand vision can actually become reality, let's start with step 1.
Section 1. Evaluating the business model.
So, what does T1 actually do? Their transformation relies on two massive facilities down in Texas. First, they have an active 5-gigawatt module factory in Dallas, and second, they're currently constructing a huge 2.1-gigawatt solar cell factory in Austin. Now, obviously, there's a fantastic long-term demand backdrop here, especially with the explosive power demands coming from AI data centers. But here's the catch. Without that Austin plant finished, T1 hasn't established a sustainable edge in their cost structure or the pricing power yet. For now, their margins are heavily reliant on domestic content premiums, the 45X tax credit, and Section 232 tariffs. It's kind of like they're building a massive moat, but they haven't poured the water in yet. They're in an expensive expansion phase, which means they need incredible leadership.
That brings us to Section 2, Management, Strategy, and Execution. If we look at the purely strategic side of things, management has actually demonstrated some pretty brilliant foresight over the last couple of years. They've been locking in vital pieces of the puzzle. They secured initial production capacity with Trina Solar, they signed a massive 641-megawatt supply agreement with Clearway, and they even established a footprint in energy storage through Corey Power. And this brilliantly illustrates their long-term planning. They acquired Evervolt's TOPCON patents, meaning they have high-efficiency cell technology totally secured for their future lines. Strategically, on paper, they are making exactly the right moves.
But look, strategy is only half the battle, right? Execution and capital allocation, that is where things start to get a bit rocky. Look at this number, 20%. That represents a massive budget overrun at their critical G2 Austin plant. Originally, that facility was estimated at $425 million. Now, costs have ballooned to $510 million. And a lot of that is actually driven by the incredibly high labor and material costs from the data center construction boom happening in Texas right now.
Naturally, those overruns have severe consequences. That Austin plant has seen its first solar cell production delayed from late 2026 all the way into the first quarter of 2027. To cover these massive capital expenditure gaps, management has clearly leaned into a growth over prudent strategy. Basically, they've been frequently raising capital, which leads to ongoing equity dilution for everyday shareholders. Just recently, in July 2026, they issued a $120 million convertible note to act as bridge financing. It carries a 4.75% coupon and converts at $4.46. So they are expanding aggressively, absolutely, but it is costing their shareholders dearly.
And that aggressive capital raising perfectly segues into Section 3, Unpacking the Financial Reality.
Okay, if you only looked at the top line, you'd think T1 was an absolute rocket ship. Their full year 2025 net sales hit roughly $755 million. I mean, that is a staggering jump from just $3 million the year prior. But that explosive growth came with a truly crushing full-year net loss of about $368 million. This is honestly a textbook example of a cash-burning, asset-heavy company sitting squarely in its aggressive growth stage.
We also have to be really careful when we evaluate their margins. In the second quarter of 2026, they reported this seemingly healthy gross margin of 19.6%, alongside an adjusted EBITDA of $10.7 million. Sounds great, right? Well, there is a massive caveat. That margin included a $24.4 million non-recurring tariff refund. If you strip away that one-time refund illusion, their underlying gross margin contracts substantially. In fact, that positive EBITDA actually turns completely negative.
The cash flow statement tells an even starker story. In the first half of 2026,
Operating cash flow saw a net outflow of about $103 million, while capital expenditures chewed up another $162 million. As of mid-2026, they were sitting on just about $79.1 million in unrestricted cash. With rising total debt and deeply negative free cash flow as they just sit and wait for the Austin plant to finish, the balance sheet is, frankly, bleeding. So we've got a company with a great strategic vision, but bleeding financials. How on earth do we price that?
Let's shift gears to Section 4, Intrinsic Value and Markets.
I want to anchor your attention to this specific number, $6.40. Based on a two-stage discounted cash flow model, this represents T1 Energy's per-share intrinsic value. With the stock currently trading around $4.42, that means the market is essentially offering a 30% discount to this base case scenario.
But hold on, before you jump at that 30% discount, we need to look at the assumptions holding that $6.40 valuation up in the air. The model assumes their EBITDA successfully ramps from $100 million in 2027 all the way up to $600 million by 2031. It also uses a 12% discount rate. And here is the real danger. This model is incredibly sensitive. If execution risks force you to raise that discount rate to just 15%, or if cash flow conversion drops even slightly, poof, that entire margin of safety is completely wiped out, sending the intrinsic value plummeting down to the current share price or even lower. Literally, there is very little room for error here.
So the crucial point is, there actually are powerful macro catalysts aligning in T1's favor right now. And if these hit, the whole game changes. Recent Section 232 onshoring incentives make T1's domestic supply agreements with companies like Hemlock and Corning incredibly valuable. Plus, they're successfully monetizing those 45X tax credits, recently selling their 2025 balance at a high 93 cents on the dollar. And physically, on the ground, the steel structure at the Austin plant is already 80% complete. If all these elements finalize, T1 drastically transforms its cost curve from a mere assembler into a fully integrated manufacturer. So fundamentally, we are looking at a classic high-risk, high-reward setup.
Let's see how the market is pricing all of this in Section 5, Technical Analysis, Elliott Wave.
If we look at the weekly chart, you can clearly see a textbook, completed 5-wave upward structure. We can visually trace these 5 distinct waves, pushing the price up over time. But notice the right side of the chart. The price has fallen substantially from that wave 5 peak. Right now, T1 is sitting in the lower range of a new adjustment cycle. They are essentially treading water, just waiting for those fundamental catalysts, like the Austin plant finally getting completed, to confirm the next big directional move.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the exact math behind those historical waves. Look at wave 3, right there in the middle. As the strongest impulse wave, it generated a massive 429.2% gain, taking the price from just $3.25 all the way to $17.20. Eventually, wave 5 peaked out at an impressive $25.80. What the technicals are showing us here is that when this stock catches a fundamental tailwind, the upside momentum can be absolutely explosive.
And that brings us to Section 6, Conclusion. We've looked at their evolving business, that bleeding balance sheet, a highly sensitive valuation, and a pretty explosive technical history. Ultimately, T1 Energy sits right at the intersection of qualitative shortcomings and quantitative option value. Yes, absolutely, they lack predictable profitability today, and management's aggressive expansion is heavily diluting current shareholders. But they perfectly exhibit the classic characteristics of a high-stakes transformation option. If they can successfully integrate that TopCon tech and actually get the Austin plant online, they instantly become one of the only vertically integrated solar players in the entire US. The upside in that scenario, it far exceeds our base case models.
Which leaves us with the ultimate question for you to ponder today. Is T1 Energy a solid long-term hold for your portfolio right now, or is it an execution-oriented wait-and-see option? Before you make that decision, make sure you continuously monitor their execution risks. Specifically, look to see if they actually hit that Q1 2027 target for cell production, and keep a very close eye on how they handle their upcoming financing needs before that convertible note cash inevitably runs out. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and keep learning.